Right, so welcome to today's webinar. We are glad to have you guys come on board to this joint webinar between ourselves, which is Cypheme, providers of physical brand protection solution, and we have our partners here, Red Points. They specialize in online brand protection solution, and we'll be having two speakers for today. So the session will be as follows. So we'll basically start off with Cypheme's presentation. That is our presentation, and this will be led by Jill Bonabo. He is the sales director for Cypheme. He's been the sales director for almost, I think, the sales director for Cypheme for close to 5 years or more.
A long time.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, and he has over 20 years of experience in that's a counterfeit industry and brand protection. Having worked in diverse fields and currently working with Cypheme in Paris, France. We also have Stephen Lavin. He's the partnership manager for Red Points. Basically, he's been in the space for more than 5 years and specializing in online brand protection and improving your brand for different businesses across board throughout the globe online. So this is what the schedule would be like. We'll first start with Cypheme presentation. And after we're done with Cypheme's presentation, and Stephen, that'll be led by Jill, and then Stephen would come in with the Red Points part of the presentation, and subsequently to which we would take questions and answers. But that does not stop you from sending your questions and your questions during the presentation. So if you look down, you would see there's a place with a question mark on your screen. You could basically just click on that and then send your questions there during the presentation. And if need be, if it's an urgent question, we could go straight to answer that straight up. If not, we'll keep it to the end of the presentation. Also, you could leave your comments in the chat section, as you can see down there, and then we would be glad to have you participate actively, as we intend to make this a collaborative or a communicative process. We do not expect this to go beyond an hour. We are hopefully looking at about 45 minutes, worst case scenario an hour. So I would at this moment yield the floor to Jill so that he starts with his presentation right away. So basically, Jill will be presenting on the Cypheme portion of the webinar. I think, Jill, you can continue there.
Yes, perfect. Okay, then we are specialized in artificial intelligence for authentications. We protect product, but also ID card or banknotes. They have a real impact in real life about the technology. Let's see this video, for example. We protect an anti-cancer drugs for large pharma laboratory. And based on the information of our technology, the Chinese police arrest 18 counterfeiters. It's a great operations, and the brand win $3 million in these operations. Then it's a lot of money, and we save more than 700 lives per year because fake anti-cancer drugs kill people. Okay, how does it work? You have just to stick the security label on your product, and everybody can check the authenticity with our applications. And when it's real, you can send some marketing content, information about the product. We have also some loyalty program. Everybody can check the authenticity of their product. And if it's fake, of course, we say it's a fake. It's a fake. But how can we trap the counterfeiter? And here is an explanation with an example of a brand we protect in Switzerland, Mediand, because each time a customer make an authentication with his smartphone, he sends us to our server a photo. And one time for this brand, Mediand, we received this photo. And obviously, it's not a label like this one. It's just a counterfeiter who makes some tests. Because when you put our label on your product, counterfeiter have no choice to copy us. And he's going to make a lot of tests to understand our technology. Because he wants the fake he made answer real on the app. Then he make a lot of tests, he sends us a lot of photos, and we have the geolocations, and it's a trap. Let's see this photo. Of course, we say it's invalid because obviously it's a copy. We have also the full address of this counterfeiter, and we answer invalid. We have the date, the time, the geolocations, and we know at this time this person makes some test to copy us. What is very strange, this person at the same address have also original label in hand. And if you analyze that photo, you can see the background paper is directly came from the roll, and this label is not stick on the product. And normally only the Median factories should have this kind of label out when the box leaves the factories, the label is stick on the product. Then this person, this counterfeiter, try to make some test and have some factories label. Then is very strange, and we have all the proof of that. On the morning, this person was on that flat, on that building, and we to make a lot of tests, in fact, and we put a GPS blackout zone on the entire building. That's mean all the person go in that building and try to do an authentication. We answer invalid. And following this action is very funny because that person moved to another place to make a lot of other tests. Then we decide to delete all the label they have in hand, all the label they have in hand. And with all these informations, all that proof, the photo and the locations, the address, the date, the time, Median are able to join that person and to stop before that's moved forward. Because we detect the head of the counterfeiter network, because is that person who make the test. I can show you more I can show you partager l'écran. Yes, then we have a web app, and you can put that web app in your website. You customer, distributor, they have no limitations, can just take a photo of the seal, and this photo is sent to our server, and at this time our artificial intelligence analyze that label to answer you if it's real or a fake one. For example, this one is a fake one, and it's really a fake one. It's very good fake made by our printer. And honestly, if you have the two labels in hand, by your eyes, you can't make the difference. But the artificial intelligence are able to tell you this one is real, this one is fake. Of course, we give you a full dashboard like this one. This dashboard is a world map where you could see and follow all the authentications made by your customer. If I take this example, this person make an authentication at this time, this date. They make an authentication of this label because each label have a unique number that is very important. By your side, you can see the image this person take to make the authentications, and he make this authentication exactly at this place on this house. Then this is the first step. We have a full geolocalizations, and we use the GPS of the telephone, then is very precise locations. But with only locations, you don't know if it's just a customer who takes some fake or a counterfeiter who tries to make some test. And on our server, we receive all the photo, and I just received the photo I took to SEC before. We received that photo. And at this time, we have another artificial intelligence who analyze the photo we receive and the background of the photo. For example, this one is very suspicious because the label is not stick on the product, of course. It's just on the paper card. Behind, they have a computer, and the AI can detect all of this and send to some Cypheme analyst to take decisions, like I show you. And this is very important because by the photo we have the proof, and we know exactly where is the counterfeiter in which factories. And by this way, we have a lot of success to detect and arrest a lot of counterfeiter, and is the best way to stop it. And we have a very good result on it. And now, so the benefit, of course, is to eliminate counterfeiter, to increase your revenue, to detect the criminal act of counterfeiting even and before it's beginning. But our solution is not just a label with no authentications. Is a full services we offer you day after day to protect your brand.
So thanks for your session, Jill. Sorry we had a bit of mishap during when I was trying to share my screen earlier. Thankfully, we were able to get back on track, and thanks, Jill, for stepping in to correct that. So thanks for your presentation. We already have a few questions, but I think I would let Stephen take over with his presentation, and then we'll address the questions at the end of Stephen's session. So Stephen, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. So let me share screen. All right. Do you see the presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So, well, first of all, thanks for hosting this webinar together, and welcome everyone. We've already addressed the reasons for going towards a solution with online counterfeits and with offline, sorry, and this part is more about the online part. The two are very well connected. And I'm sure everyone here understands the reasons why you should protect your brand online, but just to give you a bit of an introduction to the problematic that we face, I took just this short sentence from an OECD study, and because it's showing two parts of the problem. When it says there are 12 to 24 million e-commerce sites, and the 13 largest, they represent more than 60% of the sales generated. So if we look at that, that means on the one hand, we have the 13 largest, they are marketplace e-commerce. So they have millions of resellers, billions of listings, and millions of new listings every day. So it's impossible to monitor this kind of volume without proper technology for the 60%, for the 13 largest. And then on the other side, we have the remaining 40% of sales that are split across millions of smaller independent websites. And here, it's the second part of the problematic. With so many independent small websites, there is also no way you can control your brand presence online without proper technology. So that's the first, let's say, issue that we see when we try to monitor a brand online. The second part is that counterfeiters and scammers, they are getting smarter and smarter. We all know that. And I'm just showing two examples that are, let's say, clearly showing that we need technology. The first one is when we have a brand that's only visible in a picture. Here, this was a picture leading to a website that was scamming users, potential buyers, and they're not using the name of the brand at all in the Facebook post. You can only see it through analyzing the picture and detecting that that brand is mentioned here. So that's one example. The second one is maybe even harder because we're talking about a design infringement that is not using the official pictures of that brand. That means if you're looking with a simple reverse image search, which is what common technologies can do, you wouldn't find that product. And this is a listing from the platform Alibaba, and you can see the keywords being used in the title. They are so basic that if you were to use simple keywords to search for potential infringements, you could be scrolling through pages and pages of Alibaba without ever finding that particular listing. So because scammers, counterfeiters are getting also smarter and smarter, there is a real need for powerful technology, not just random technologies. And I just showed these two examples of day-to-day products, but just so you know a bit more about Red Points, we are not limited to that. We protect even more industrial products. And as you can maybe recognize from a few examples on this slide, we also protect digital services. So we really have technologies adapted to all the different types of infringements that we see. For today, because we are talking about physical products that are also protected offline, the focus is more on the offline protection. But really, we need to adapt our technologies to the different kinds of infringements we find. For offline, I've summarized here the four main types that we see. From left to right, it would be from the most common type to the least common in terms of volume, and also from the least complex in terms of technology to the most complex, maybe. So brand abuse cases is probably what we see the most. A trademark being infringed and being used in products that may be actual counterfeits as well, or maybe just individual products that are using a brand they are not authorized to, which are a bit easier to detect because usually with keyword algorithms and a little bit of logo recognition, depending on the brand, we can detect this. And up to the fake websites that require access to different types of databases for websites, or designs and copyright abuses which require powerful image technology, and probably sometimes a combination of different image technologies. So I'll explain a little bit the technologies. But just before I jump into that, a quick explanation of when does it make sense to implement that. And I use this GIF as an example because it's exactly that moment when we see this happening, the whack-a-mole effect, as it's called. That's when we typically need to implement a solution like Red Points. The traditional methods that are used otherwise, they work well. For example, if you use a law firm, if you just do some manual or low-tech, as we call it, monitoring, it's usually fine if you're seeing maybe one of your main competitors that you can identify that is stealing some innovation from you. That is usually rather well handled in the hands of a law firm. And we collaborate actually with a lot of law firms because we complement in a part that the law firms cannot handle, which is this part when we start seeing a whack-a-mole effect with resellers appearing on different platforms through different profiles, and where it's just impossible to get rid of that volume. And just trying to identify them might be very, very difficult. And physical solutions like the one Jill just presented, they help to get a physical address, to get some identification that would help you to use the data from online and combine it with other data to identify counterfeiters. But it requires really both. Otherwise, in some cases, if you can't identify, there is only one solution, which is to use powerful technology to automatically detect and remove these links. So the process that we have at Red Points is very simple. It follows 3 main steps, which are detect, validate, and remove. For the detection part, what's important to understand is how the technology works, because it's very different from traditional technologies. If we look at the traditional approach, usually you would have very targeted search keywords. So you would put the name, if we take the name of a famous shoe brand, you would put the name of that trademark, and you would look for associated maybe product names, and maybe do a little bit of reverse image search for the famous products you're looking for. But because these results are usually reviewed by analysts, the search keywords have to be targeted, otherwise they would bring tons and tons of irrelevant results that only a technology can discard efficiently, and an analyst would just lose an enormous amount of time to review all these results and spot the ones that are actual fakes. So Red Points approach allows us to use broad search keywords, and that's the main difference, and we can afford to do that, which means we bring large volumes of information to our platform because we know that when they are within our platform, let's say we have to protect a famous shoe brand, we might put in just shoe and monitor an entire category of product, which is just an enormous amount of data. But because once they are in our platform, we can use image technologies to automate, which means automatically confirm infringement and also automatically discard others. This allows us to monitor such a large amount of data. And these technologies, I'm going to mention the 2 main ones that are probably the most trendiest because of recent evolutions of how counterfeiters act. They would be the object recognition, which means we train an algorithm to detect an object in a picture. So if this is the object we're looking for, we're going to train with a lot of images the algorithm so that after this, it's able to recognize this object regardless which picture, which angle it is used. And that's because counterfeiters tend to take more and more often their own pictures instead of using the brand's official images, which means we can't use a catalog of images. That's already a technology that we still use a lot, but it's outdated in these particular situations. And then the other technology that we use more and more is the optical character recognition, which allows us to read information from a picture. And this is crucial because it allows us to both automatically validate cases and automatically detect an infringement as well. So we could, for example, well, read the information to confirm that it is the product or the brand that we're looking for that is being used. That's one part. But we could also use, outside of the information that's on the packaging, sometimes counterfeiters will add a WhatsApp number, the name of a shop that they use, that they add on top of every picture they produce. And this could allow us to match this name with a blacklist and automatically confirm that this is a counterfeit product. So there's a lot of options how to use this technology. And this is one that we use more and more because we see it more and more relevant. But it's only a few technologies that we use. And we use these technologies, as I said, both to validate and to detect and to automate, sorry. And I'm going to show you on our platform how it looks like, because everything that we gather, that we collect, is reported on this platform that allows our clients to review in a very easy way what's happening with their brand. So you would have here access to the information about current infringements, current enforcement. So once we start the removal process, we can, with these technologies, also set up some priority rules so that you can have more critical case, meaning also if you have only 10 minutes to address this week this topic, then you can quickly go to the most relevant points, all of that using combination of criteria and technologies. And the validation part of the platform. So you can see here, of course, a lot of information about top platforms, top sellers, but the platform is also used for validating results, which can be done either automatically or manually. And the idea is that if the brands are willing to do it, we try to automate as much as possible with filters and combinations of technologies, which can be based on the price, on the shipping country, on the stock that they own, transactions that the item receives usually is also an indicator of whether it's likely a fake or not. So we can use a lot of that information, which we can also combine with some technology. And an example is what we call the known bad images. That means if we see this image and we know that this is not a product from the company, or at least there are indicators in that picture that this is not an official product, we can set up some rules based on this image associated with the name of a brand and automatically confirm these cases. Or if we are using official images, we can combine them. If we know that it's this product combined with a price which is less than 50% of the official retail price, then we can also automatically remove that infringement. So there are a lot of combinations possible so that we automate things. And what's not automated, our clients review it in our platform, and they can very quickly take decisions and say, well, they review this item which comes from eBay, from that particular seller with this price and this many transactions. If they want to review it directly from the list, they can do it so, or you can enter here a more detailed view with a description of the product. And based on that, you can take the decision whether to enforce or not. So, like I said, either automatically or manually, you have the possibility to very quickly send all the infringements to enforcement process. And then Red Points takes care of the full enforcement process, meaning we collaborate really well with third parties such as marketplaces, third parties which are hosts and registrars for independent websites or social media, in order to automatically configure the sending of a takedown notice. So the idea is that it's extremely easy for our customers. They are only involved for the manual validation if they want to, or we can try to automate as much as possible. And then our platform offers a lot of reports. Here it's a training example, so we don't have any proper results, but you would be able to see the success rate, a ranking of domains, ranking of products, and a lot of details, including if for some reason we're not able to remove a link, the exact reasons why the platforms are not removing these links, so you can address this with your law firm or whoever is in charge of the IP strategy. So we try to provide as much information as possible about what we do. And some of this information is actually really relevant when combined together with the offline data that you would get from a solution like Cypheme, because it really allows to connect the dots. Our platform could, for example, detect that there is a seller with specific criteria for a product or a network of resellers that are offering a counterfeited good, but we might not be able to identify the location where these products are shipped from. We may know that they are from Philippines, but we might not know exactly where. And when you start identifying a larger network, that's where you might want to check on Cypheme's platform the fake tags that were scanned in that particular region, territory, and with this, maybe try to find out if there is a connection between the two information. So there is really a lot of data here that can be used to cross-check information. And one last point about our solution is that in some cases we can even go one step further, which is the litigation. So Red Points is not a law firm, but we partner with a company that allows us to litigate when we have clear cases of large counterfeiters. And this allows us to go after a large number of resellers at once, block their accounts, freeze the funds available in their accounts, and at the end of this litigation lawsuit, the compensations that are given, they are usually quite high and compensate quite well the efforts, knowing that this is also a program that doesn't have any extra cost on top of the protection. It's just when we see that we have this possibility to offer this, we definitely offer it. And we have clear examples here with 3 companies that have been with us in the program where the compensations are really relevant and really clearly shows that we can go even one step further than simply removing these infringements. And with that, I'm done too, so I think we can go to the questions.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks a lot for your session, and thanks, Jill. Also, it sort of clearly shows the importance of both online and offline brand protection, and now it ties in and the linkages between the two. We have some questions from participants. I think the first one was during Jill's session, and it's from Gideon. He says he actually has 2 questions. So I'll ask the first one, and then when Jill answers, I'll ask the second one. He says, I understand, if I understand you properly, customers of your customer are to scan your label with their phone. How do you motivate them to actually do this? Hold on, Jill. I think I put you on mute. Hold on. Sorry. Hold on a moment. Let me unmute you. Yeah, I was getting some feedback from you earlier.
Yeah.
All right.
So good questions. Depending on the country, checking authenticity is sufficient motivating factor to get your customer to scan it. If your customer is in Asia, Middle East, Latin America, there is no questions. But we often combine our technology with marketing program. For example, we have a loyalty program, and customer can to earn some point, not for authenticity. Warranty registrations can to access to product documentation or instructions. And of course, we will check the authenticity and then do all the services behind. But it's a very good idea to link marketing program to our solutions. is a good way to make money, because it's give you access to customer personal data with their consent, and is a win-win for everyone.
That's great. He has a follow-up question. He says, you mentioned that you have proof of counterfeits with pictures taken. Do you provide these pictures to your clients?
Yes, of course, of course. I show you, we provide you with a complete dashboard when you can track all the activity yourself. You can see the photo and the locations, the date, the time. But don't worry, when you have an attack, we will contact you and send you all the evidence and address. You know, it's a long-term partnership, and we work hand in hand with our customer.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so the next question is for Steven. It says, what is the percentage accuracy of your solution? And also, is your solution globally available everywhere?
Yeah, thanks, Gideon, for the question. So the accuracy of the solution, it depends what percentage we're talking about. If we're talking the success rate, which I think you mean, which would be out of everything that we try to enforce, how much is actually removed. Depending on industries, it would be in general above 90%. But depending on industry and type of infringement, we may face some issues. So if we take the typical fashion accessory, cosmetics industries, typically we are above 95% success rate. But if we take, for example, infringements that are more difficult, like design infringements, it might be difficult because sometimes the platforms, they accept only very specific rights, and we might not be able, depending on which rights the company owns, to effectively remove. So we always try to look for alternative. If we cannot use this, maybe we can use copyright, but it's not always possible. So in some cases, we end up having a success rate which is rather towards 90 or including below in some cases. But that's why also we report all the reasons why we can't enforce, so that companies can review if it's because of a lack of IP right, because you didn't own designs in this specific country, then maybe that's something you can review with your law firm and see if you should register your designs or your trademarks in new territories. And regarding the solution, yes, it's available everywhere. It's global. We don't have any limit. And the channels that we cover as well, of course, we establish for each company the relevant ones, but it's entirely global.
All right, that's great. We have another question for you, Steven. It says, does Red Points have a trial program before somebody actually subscribes or purchases your solution?
Yeah. So thanks, Kartik, for the question. So we don't have a trial program per se, because, well, as many companies with technology, the cost of implementing are quite high, and we work with annual agreements. But even though we cannot try the removing part, what we do is that we offer free audits. So we can definitely run an audit with a brand or an example of IP rights product to show you on our platform that's entirely free what can we detect, and based on that, that allows us as well to see where the problem is, so what we should protect, because maybe it doesn't make sense to cover social media, or maybe it does, but we need to do this audit to know. And this is completely free, and we can definitely organize this. Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think, give or take, we are almost about 1 hour so far into this presentation, and I believe that this brings us sort of to the end of the webinar. Thanks for attending. Those of you who actually did, we appreciate your time, and we were happy to be able to tell you what the importance of having both online and offline brand protection for your business, and how it can help you actually increase your revenue for Q4 as we close out 2023. This is very important. Kindly note that we will send you a copy of this webinar probably in the next couple of hours, so that you can have something to refer to, so you can always go back and and look at it. You can always send me an email from the email notifications you got, and then I'll forward it to either Jill or Stephen subsequently. So my email is emmanuel@cypheme.com. You can always send it to me, and I'll forward it accordingly to them, so that we can take it out from there. Thanks for coming, and thanks Jill and Stephen for your time as well. And then
Thanks
until
everybody.
the next
You guys, thanks everyone.
Thanks
until the next
everyone.
webinar. Bye bye everybody.
Bye bye.